Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of our 4th Age Total War Reunited Kingdom campaign. We are about to click end season here and see what happens with regard to the fate of Lond Nurnen. It is about to starve out. We've got a very small garrison of rebels holed up inside, so we'll see if they feel like sallying or if we're just going to get this on a timeout. Alright, Tharbad wants trade yet again. We'll just ignore that. And shockingly, we did not get a sally. I'm rather surprised at that. So, we have the option of occupying, expelling, this is essentially enslaving, or laying desolate, and I think we will choose this option just because the public order is looking so bad here. However, we can maintain it at a yellow face, 95% public order here. We did do a lot of damage in that. You know, it may not have been us, actually. It may have been simply the rebellion that grew up here. I'm not exactly sure what happened. I have some theories. This could have been Khand sacking it and then wandering off somewhere. It could have been Rune maybe taking it and then not being able to hold it. But regardless, it is in our hands now, and we have quite a bit of work to do to maintain this. So the good thing is we took it with 0 losses. The bad news is we are likely to have some bad traits on our... Actually, no, we're not. We get all of our supplies back here, and he's not even sick. A lot of times when you have a family member besieging a settlement for a long time, this was, I think, 7 or 8 turns, you get, obviously, the supply trait will decrease the longer you spend doing that. And then the other thing that may happen is he may get some bad traits, such as, like, under the weather. He may get sick. He may get... if he's wounded, he may not heal up in those difficult conditions. So he's actually looking quite good. And, I'm noticing that this is actually a very fertile area that he was on, so that probably played some role in his supplies not being too bad. The supply trait is actually fairly complex. There's a lot of conditions associated with it. But at any rate, we've got Lond Nurnen. And that, I think, is the final settlement that we need in terms of, our... named settlements that are required. We still need 45 provinces total, but we're only 6 settlements away from that. And then we will, win the campaign, which is kind of surprising. Well, there is a caveat to this number, and that is that this number here includes the 2 provinces that are owned by our Protectorate faction, Harondor. We personally own 37, and unfortunately, to get to your victory condition number, you personally need to own all of those provinces. So we're actually 8 settlements away from getting the victory window screen. So, that's something. But at any rate, I'm happy to have this. Now, in terms of Adunabar here and our situation around Nurn, we are a little bit vulnerable. We're a little precarious here because, as you can see, we've got some very large stacks of Rune in the area, or they were large at one point, but they've suffered a lot of attrition in various battles against Adunabar, and now we have almost walled off their aggression towards Adunabar. It would have been nice if they had just simply continued to move on through and taken out the capital. That kind of would have been nice, but they won't be doing that. However, they may head down here and come into this region. I would actually be happy to see them do that, and my only hope of retaining my Protectorate, I fear, is seeing Adunabar destroyed. So that's something I'm going to have to work at, because as we know from previous episodes, Adunabar and Harondor have unfortunately an alliance that is acting in a way that I don't normally see when I have Protectorates. Just refresh your memory on that. So I've got my overlordship here, Principality of Harondor. They're allied with Adunabar. Of course, they're also allied with me. I was at war with Adunabar, but getting the Protectorate forced a truce, which I've been fortunate to maintain. Typically, what I would do in this situation is attack my Protectorate's ally. They will usually side with the aggressor in such a war. In other words, they would stick with me. They would drop their alliance with Adunabar, and then they would only have me as an ally, and then I'd be able to continue fighting Adunabar, which would be just great. However, every time I have tried this in the past, Adunabar has sided, or rather Harondor has sided with Adunabar. They've stayed allied with them, they've dropped their alliance with me, and thus they would no longer be my Protectorate. That, again, very, very rarely happens. So what I would recommend is if you get to a point where you want to, play around with protectorates in Rome Total War or mods based on it, which is a lot of fun, make saves pretty frequently, especially right after you've got that first protectorate, and then see how things work if you attack an ally, the ally of your protectorate. Because usually if you wait for the ally to attack you, again, your protectorate will ally with the aggressor. So that's what I'm afraid of here, because we have all these ships. We've got these massive, ridiculous, needless fleets of Adunabar, even with armies on them, that are just landlocked here in the Sea of Nirn, because that's what the AI likes to do. And they are probably going to attack my port here. Now, one thing I could do to actually, it occurs to me, I could destroy the port. No port, no blockade, no war. So that's actually an option. I would miss out on the trade, but honestly, maybe the trade is the least of my concerns right now. That's what, 331? I mean, that's going to be dwarfed by the land tax that I will be making here, I imagine. So, maybe that's the better move. And then I can build that back up when and if Adunabar is eliminated. So you know what? Let's do that. Just destroy that. I know it seems ridiculous. I don't like doing it. But we can build this back up later. And then we're going to have to do some stuff with this. We can, fortunately, build our provincial pacification immediately. That was destroyed, presumably, in the rebellion, the Homeland Dominion. And we're going to wait for our Dominion to be built before we start repairing. Again, if you're new to the mod and you see these destroyed buildings, you may think, geez, the repair cost on these is through the roof. And I can build, well, you can't build stuff now. But if you're in a settlement where there is still a homeland building of another faction, like, for example, I guess I'm building Dominion here. Let's take Karis Nan. I haven't destroyed the local homeland Dominion here. This is owned by Harad. I could destroy it, and then I would, as it says here, I would just be able to build my own stuff. The hint here also indicates that this building's presence increases construction costs. So you'll notice that a control post here costs 10 seasons to build and over 5,000 Mirian. Normally that's more like a 2,000 or 3,000 cost and like a couple turns. This is your first level barracks essentially. So all these buildings are going to be just really overly priced. You can build them, but it's just a bad move. So at any rate, we'll get the homeland stuff going around Lost Nirn, and we'll have to keep our eye on Rune. So here we don't have any great governors. We did have this guy that we're bringing over potentially to lead, but yeah, he's actually rationing because he didn't actually take part in the siege, so he didn't get the benefit of getting the province's plunder, I guess. So we can take these guys out, and I'm curious to see how well public order will stand, and the answer is pretty good. We could put archers in there instead for garrison, so let's actually swap one archer with one swordsman, and we could go for another Blackland mercenary unit. There's no other fighting that I necessarily want to do here, but I do want to keep an army out and about, just in case we're put under siege. I can quickly swat away enemies, I can grab mercenaries, that type of thing. We've also got this Haradrian army in the area. I don't know if we're going to go to war with Rune in the near future, but if we do, I want to be prepared for that. So let's take a look back in the south where we do have some other action to go with this episode. We're all set for an assault on Athendad. We've got an army here that we've added a few troops to just for manpower, and we're just going to assault Athendad this very season because we've, of course, got those catapults. Inside here, we've got a garrison with a noble, some footmen of Harad, 2 swords, 2 spears, 2 skirmishers, and some light cav. So with what we've got, I think we're going to be all right. It's not going to be, ideal. I sort of messed up getting my troops into position here before consolidating the armies, and then once you're within the zone of control of a city, you can't reorder your troops or move them away from it to make room for better troops. But I did the best I could, given that little error, and I think we'll be fine for this. What we're going to do here is take this and I think hold it. If we hold on to this, we can then move north and take that settlement and hold it as well. And then we can start making a wall of our protectorates and allies between us and Harad. And that is just going to make life much easier for us. We will be able to decide, you know, when and where we want to attack Harad, or if. It might be nice to keep them alive in the east as sort of a buffer or a problem for Rune, because Rune is getting, you know, fairly large. Well, let's try to do some damage actually, since they're right here. We'll hit some spearmen, and we'll just use up all this ammunition. Looks like there's some swords back there. We may overshoot and get lucky. We did overshoot, but that's not a good overshot. All right, let's hit those. Aim for those spearmen instead, or those swordsmen back there. We're probably going to do a bunch of incidental damage to the settlement. And we're going to do a few more shots of this and then probably go for the walls, because we do need to save some ammunition for that. But this should only take one hit to wipe out. Alright, they're going to have to calibrate. That took them down by, you know, 12 or 13. Okay, and they're moving up. So, you know what? Let's halt them right now, and let's just do the wall. Speed up the action for that. There they go.
The walls are broken. Our troops should be.
All right, so we'll quit that, and we'll aim at their. I think it's their general actually that we're aiming at now. That's fine. Let's see if we can do anything to him. Great to get rid of that unit, or that family member at any rate. All right, let's stop here. Since they're going to go back to the plaza, we may as well hit some of these guys. So the AI's behavior seems to be that they are willing to stick around until they start taking damage, then they'll move back out of range. Here we got some Swords of Harad. I think I'm feeling like spending some ammunition on destroying that unit if possible. That was pretty nice. Yeah, so everyone's moving back into the central square. We could move, I think, our siege equipment through the gap there, and move them close enough to hit units in the plaza. I'm not totally sure about that. We definitely could not get them through the gates. Well, that's just wonderful. So let's move a little bit more forward. It looks like they're not going all the way back, so we could try again. They don't have any archers either, so yeah, we did a lot of damage to their cavalry here. You know, I'm not so concerned about destroying the family member here, but he did have a fairly large bodyguard, so it's good to get that down to a much more manageable size. Alright, we've got to move the archers up. Alright, fine. We'll aim for that unit. These skirmishers we should be able to sweep away with our cavalry. And we could probably get rid of these swords as well with the bodyguards we have down here. Some of these guys are getting old, and they're not going to be... Wow. Luckiest general. Alright, hit these swords. That's the target I'd really want to take care of. Right. These archers are all close enough to theoretically hit those swords and even those desert skirmishers. That was very nice. Take out some more swords. The spearmen are also going to be a tough unit to deal with. Not these guys, the spearmen of the serpent. So since these, well, all right. I guess giving different target orders is going to mess with their targeting, but I do want to make sure I'm not, you know, shooting at units that are just going to march away. So they had 2 sword units altogether. We've got this one down by a little bit. And we've got one pretty much destroyed. Just 15 men. We're going to whittle that down even further. That was very nice. Down to 50. Alright, that took out, I guess, 15 men just there. Alright, down to just 9. So this is definitely in the range of I could take them out with my cavalry. But they're going to move down these spearmen. Alright, let's do that. We'll start a charge of these Swords of Harad. The general ends up getting accidentally killed. That makes things a lot easier in terms of morale, although if we end up fighting in the plaza, that's not going to matter. But at least we don't have to suffer under the fire of those those Black Serpent units. And also their fear effect, which is another factor. So we're doing some incidental damage to different units here. Alright, we took out the swords completely, so let's move our guys up. Kind of as fast as we can. Just a few more shots with the catapult here, so I guess we can spend it on those spearmen. So this unit has, yeah, just 50. And then there's another one back here, which is going to be rather tough to deal with, unfortunately. But I think we've got the archers that we can force them to fight outside of the plaza. And we've got the infantry to pin them. I did add in some mercenary Gondorian swordsmen and these 2 units of Kingdom Militia, actually. Just on the thought that it would be good to have some bodies we could just throw in. And if the spearmen would leave these desert skirmishers alone, I could run them down pretty confidently, but that's not going to be so easy. The other thing is we get these Herodwaith Riders, which are a large unit. Do have some Swords of Harad left. Alright, I would prefer to use my arrows on these Spearmen of the Serpent. They're going to be marching up and marching away, and we're going to do the same game. Okay, here come the Cav. Let's get our spearmen out. Kingdom Militia are probably going to do pretty well against these guys. Herodwaith Riders will charge in, but we will countercharge. And should do pretty well. Yeah, wavering already. Come down by half. We haven't taken any losses yet. And our Kingdom Militia are in, and there they go. Spearmen of the Serpent now marching towards us. We'll just do the same thing with our Kingdom Militia. So they're getting targeted. They're also... Alright, I got a little happy thinking that maybe we could charge in here, given that they were not formed up well. They are shaken. So we're going to have to stop the targeting, unfortunately. Let's run the archers up, though. This would be a good use for the Lasarnic Axemen. But I think I'll hold off, you know, for maybe a more open battlefield type scenario. And they are routing. So yeah, I kind of thought that once the general is gone, those Spearmen of the Serpent, they are a very nice unit. But with no general, they are going to struggle to stay in the field when they've got just such overwhelming odds against them. Alright, we're going to chase down a bunch of these guys, and I'll stay in the plaza here to fight them. Kind of as much as I can. Let's get the Spearmen, like, here. and then we'll move out. All right, they're going to charge in, and I want to do the fighting again in the plaza, or outside of the plaza, rather, so that I can be sure that they will rout at some point. Bringing up the archers, bringing up our other sword units. I guess I should bring up these skirmishers too. Right, they're going to get actually a charge on us, but it's not going to make much of a difference. They took out 2 of our men before we could form up and meet it. They are winning easily. Alright, let's target those Spearmen of the Serpent. Let's see if we can pull them down. We got swordsmen coming up who could deal with them. They are, you know, more of a full unit than I would like to face right now. But we can get them down at the plaza, chasing the archers away, and we can kind of pin them with these guys and the swords. Then push on through to those swords of Harad. These guys will just hold. I mean, we're losing heavily against footmen. That does not seem right to me. 66. That is sad. Maybe I have oversold the value of our kingdom militia somewhat. Alright, here they come. We give a march order that will become a charge. Alright, we'll get a couple of them in on that, and then we'll do some targeting of the Swords of Harad, who are attacking at range. Okay, now they're losing. No, they're losing heavily / winning. Hard to tell. The losing heavily, evenly matched messages, I'm not sure exactly what that is describing, right? You move it over different men. Is it the individual man who is losing heavily or evenly matched? Is it like parts of the unit? Is it an aggregate of the unit as a whole? I'm really not sure precisely what that means. Catch them, though, as they try to run back to the plaza. Alright, we are going to catch them. They're wavering. If we can get them to rout, yes, indeed. Let's get a bunch of kills before they get back and form up again. We're going to get a bunch of javelins, though. Oh, yeah, we took out a lot, down to just 15. So I'm confident in fighting them, even though they're going to make it back to the plaza. Alright, I don't think we're doing a whole lot of anything right now against those swords with our archers. So let's move them up here. We're going to just throw in, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to push them out with our cavalry. We're going to sort of hopefully push them just out of the plaza, and then they'll rout. And then do the fighting to the death thing. They're wavering, but they're still in the plaza. They're never going to rout in there. If we can just push them out, which I think we could. There we go. Let's end the battle. We're doing an assault, and that was surprisingly cheap in terms of our men's lives. Fewer than 70 losses. So this is going to get us, what is Athendad? And that is a settlement that is not the best. It is pretty empty, as you can tell, but there is some ivory here. So eventually, you know, this is going to give us some trade income. We're going to lay desolate, and, you know, we are going to have to start to slow down a little bit. We're at 90% public order here, and that's good. But we do need to get our other developments going. We have one up here at Harman, 1 season, and then we'll be able to get going on the Homeland Dominion. Here we're still working on our major province, and similarly here it's going to take us a while before we can get going on Homeland stuff. So we've got that in the works. In terms of other developments, we've been going kind of easy on it. We've been spending money on training quite a bit lately, and you know, bribes and so on. So we're just keeping an eye on things, and I'm wondering how exactly Adunabar can be beaten if it's not going to be by my hand. They've got a few settlements up here. They've got Karn Doom. They've got these 2 forts, which are basically orc holds, and they've taken back Ettendale, as we've seen. So I'm kind of curious now as to what they have here. We've got an old emissary. Let's send him up through the woods, see if there's any garrison out here. Okay, it's probably... No, this is not a body, not a family member. So we've got no family member representation up here. Here in Karn Doom, we've got another captain who's not a bodyguard. And in here, I don't know what that is. If we do go into diplomacy with them, it's just a settlement, so that tells me there's not a family member inside. I think that's how that works. I could be wrong. You know, I'm curious about this too. Can we see if there's anybody in here? We can't tell, but there's unrest. It'd be nice to think that they would get kicked out, but I think they won't. They've had that for quite a while. So I guess what I'm wondering is, if Adunabar retains this corner, do they have any family members up there? And is it possible that we could destroy the faction by these family members, you know, dying off and them losing these settlements? You know, if so, then I'm all for it. But I think they've got to lose this at some point. So we're going to just kind of wait for that to happen. But look at our map here. This is kind of nice. We've got a nice black region in the north. It's pretty solid. Of course, we've got all of Gondor, and we've got north of the White Mountains here, as well as up towards Rovanion here, and we're now stretching into Mordor. So ultimately, I would like to make all of this mine, but this is complicated by the fact that Adunabar has these 3 settlements. This is the capital, and we can't buy this one off them. We could buy the other 2. If we wanted to spend some cash, which we have, we could certainly buy these. The problem is, having more settlements at this point is going to make public order more of a problem. All right, trade with Rune. I'm going to give Rune the Tharbad treatment, which is, I don't trust you, and if we start trading, I'm worried your merchants are going to give you news about me and get greedy, and you know, you start a war. So these armies are mostly stalled here, and they did take Athrad Morn. Okay. Oh, Adunabar. The Bjornings have attacked Adunabar. And the Bjornings are no longer allied with Dale. That's always a very interesting time for the Bjornings. Okay, so they've attacked the East Bight. Very interesting. I really thought that would be Rohan. Okay. So that must mean that Adunabar and Dale are allied. Yes, they are. So Dale decided to stick with Adunabar rather than with the Bjornings. It's interesting there because the Bjornings were the aggressor, and so Dale sided with the defender in that battle, which is another example of my theory, which is often borne out, not being right 100% of the time. So it looks like, again, the Bjornings are going to win this eventually, just through sheer numbers. They've got a full stack here, a full stack down here, or close to. And the Bjornings are kind of like Dunland in that, you know, they're less dangerous in a lot of ways. No javelins, for example, but they can put together really large armies surprisingly quickly. And they've got, you know, basically no upkeep costs. So this is going to make us 780, and we're going to get another, you know, 100 or so here. And then we're going to lose 500 or so. So again, it's a net gain. And it really, the goal with doing the fiefdom dominions for some of these settlements is not so much the long-term financial benefits, although those will accrue to us eventually, but the public order in the short term as we start to get these settlements feeling better about our rule. Looks like, unfortunately, we've got some serious fights ahead of us, though. So let's get stuff together here. I think we're going to have to merge those units of Blackwood Vale Bowmen, unfortunately, into one. I was really hoping that that unit would perform fantastically well, but it's possibly not their fault, right? It could very well be that I just did not use them well in the last fight in the previous episode. So, you know, that's that. Let's bring these guys back. We can get them trained as well. So we want to get an army together that's going to be able to deal with both of these forces and also take Akkas Anabon within, like, the next, what is it, 7 turns we've got here? Yeah, next 8 seasons. So we're not in a huge rush, but on the other hand, you know, we don't want to wait for Harad to put together another army. This is by far the most threatening host that is in front of us. A lot of swords, some archers, you know, the bare minimum cav, so that's kind of nice. But they've got enough archers to be a problem, and they've got enough spears to make this not simply a cavalry type proposition. So we get our good archers. We've also got some longbowmen. I think we'll put them together. And I think we want the catapults, even though, you know, they're going to slow the army down and they're not going to be as good on a defense, and we've got fewer numbers now. I think we still do want them. And the other unit that I think we also really want is those very expensive mercenaries. So I'm thinking bringing some of these guys back to garrison some of these other places and maybe eventually retrain is going to be the move to make, rather than, yeah, something like that would be better. Let's see if you guys hear. I mean, some of these, like these mercenary cav, right, we've got to use them. Otherwise, we're just spending 480 per season with no real benefit. You could go back for training. You could as well, I guess, but thinking maybe I want to hold off. The other units that I may as well use are these guys. We've got a couple of old family members who are just, you know, we may as well use them, right? These King Spearmen, it's sad that they're down here. As well as these, you know, these mercenaries, these bowmen. So I guess we could move them all the way back up to be retrained. It feels a little like a waste of time, but maybe we can just leave them there for now, and these guys will kind of help out as reinforcing. And I think what I'll do is I'll move these guys kind of up in this direction. We'll kind of reinforce this army off of this one. And then, you know, we don't really have to worry about Harad in this region. We've got, of course, a garrison over here in Anumbar. But I think, you know, we're going to be all right. So we've done the building we want to do. Let's actually, we didn't destroy everything here that we should have. So we'll take care of that. That's going to bring our books back in the right direction. And Harad has already built an ivory carvers for us, which is the industry building you can build here. So that's nice. Eventually that will start to be useful. I think we do get a little bit of trade currently. Yeah. By eventually, what's going to have to happen is I'm going to take this and give all these 3 settlements to my allies, because we're not really getting much trade right now, obviously. So we're just waiting here, and we're just cruising around to see what else we can do. Okay, so we're just going to open up and see if there's any family member inside Graham, and there is not, so we're just going to cancel that. I believe that's what that means. There's basically nobody inside the settlement, and so that's nice. All right. I don't believe this guy is really youthful. He looks older, and he's not that great, so we'll decline that. We lost Commander. Well, he wasn't doing anything. He was just standing around, kind of being threatening here. So we'll go ahead and use the opportunity to get some more mercenaries. But he was the first heir we had, who was with you at the beginning of the campaign. Now the general here is Eridan the Hunter, who has his Grey Company, but we're going to lose him fairly soon as well, because he's another one hand placed at the beginning. So our new king, Valakar of Tolfalas, is down here, ruling or commanding the army, essentially, and we're in a really nice position to attack the bigger army. Oh, they've got some Parchereb tribesmen in this one. Interesting. Let's get our scouts around, because these armies don't look quite like what I was there we go. Yep. Okay. So let's hit this army instead. And we can't. Alright, well then we'll hit this one. We didn't have quite the movement points. And we're going to demolish this army. They've got some nice units too. They've got Scarlet Shields. We'll see those Parchereb tribesmen in action again. And then we'll head north. Because once we get into Harad's territory again, I bet that large army is going to come back over in our direction to make sure we don't take their settlement from them. The trick is, though, we want to get into an attack position with regard to that army. Alright, again, these columns of infantry I don't like, especially when it's like javelin throwing infantry, because I always wonder Are they just going to throw those javelins into the backs of their own men? Alright, yes, Valakar of Tolfalis. Unfortunately, he does not command an army, a group of Knights of Dol Amroth, but this guy does. This guy might be the heir, actually. Oh no, I trained him. That's right, from Dol Amroth. So we're going to have to take him and be a little bit careful with him, because the unit is cool, and I don't want to lose it. We've got these other family members, Heavy Cav, and then we've got these lighter Lancers, which are going to be fast. So we'll do something like that. And where are they going to be? I bet they're going to be annoyingly on the other side of this, like here or something. And they have a lot of archers too. So maybe then we want to set up over here. Ah, ha, ha, yeah. But we're already in range. Now, they're moving away. Let's go over here, because it seems like we're going to be wasting some shots. Now, if we get within archer range, they're going to rush us. But if we get right here, this is perfect, because we can now decide just who we want to hit first. And I think it's going to be these Swords of Harad. We'll take a few shots at them, and then I want to move over on this side. If I can get some incidental shots on this, is that the Scarlet Shields? That would be very nice, because this would be the better wing to aim at, actually. But since we started off with some shots here, let's take another couple. Let's see how this goes. Very nice. There's these Parchereb tribesmen again. But the goal in this battle, I mean, this is an army we could rush forward and beat very easily, I think. But we would take, losses. We would take a lot of losses from the ranged units, and that includes their swords. So I want to take my time with this, because we're going to need to fight that big army a little bit later. Alright, that was pretty good. I don't know that I'm going to get another shot that good again. So let's aim at these Swords of Harad instead, and we'll speed it up to see how they do. Alright, so some archers are coming forward. I think we're going to be shooting at them pretty soon. Yep, Longbowmen are hitting them. Blackroot Vale Bowmen are hitting them, and pretty soon these guys are going to be in range, I would think. Alright, great. We've cut these guys down to about half already. Alright, yeah, everybody's now firing, and it looks like they're firing at... what is it, our own archers? They're going to have a very hard time, because as you can see, every time they take a substantial number of losses, they will stop and kind of reform. You can see them here running in from the side. So that means they're basically never going to get a shot off. So this is very nice. Pull them towards us, one at a time. We've got plenty of arrows. They've got a lot of archers left, though. Oh, and we did take out some of their cav. Alright, so we wiped out the Parchereb tribesmen over there. Oh, that was beautiful. 28. What were they at? 50 something? That's what you want to see right there. Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Again, we'll speed it up. And we've basically wiped out that unit. Let's change focus now to this Swords of Harad. There's 38 men left. We may as well do that. Taking out some of their archers as well. And some of the footmen. Alright, that's just down to 24. Let's hit these guys. The 80 strong Red Sand Archers. We're probably going to miss a bunch. Yeah, that's too bad. Okay, so now we're out of that ammunition, and we need to pull them away. Oops, we'll group them up, and then get you out of the group, because we'll basically leave them behind. What we'll do instead is bring everybody up, leading with the archers. And we gotta run. They're going to lead with their own archers, and in fact, their archers are within range. Kind of surprised they're not shooting right now. But we've got our own very nice cavalry. And it's frightening cav. So if we can focus on those bowmen. So let's hit those red sand archers. I don't necessarily want them to march forward. This army, geez, they might be withdrawing. All right, I'll take it. Let's run forward with the cav actually, because we could get some kills. I don't necessarily want to hit the Parchereb tribesmen in the back. They're going to turn around and start meleeing us with their spears. But these red sand archers, if we could get some of them, I guess even the skirmishers might be nice to take out. And we could maybe get rid of some of these swords too. See if we can push these 22 into a rout, and then the 56 may follow. What are you doing? Alright, that's the end of them. We get the Dol Amroth Knights down to hopefully cause a rout, because they've got that fear effect. Right, these swords are wavering, taking some losses, slowly turning around to fight, but broken. Beautiful. All right, I think that's all we're going to be able to do, unfortunately. But that was pretty good. We did not take, geez, hardly any losses, I think. Let's see what the final tally is here. 876. So yeah, okay, we lost 6 men. It was probably on the charges and stuff, right in that that final section of the battle. But it's still our turn. So again, we're going to move north, and we want to move north in such a way that that big army can't hit us this turn. Because I don't want to fight them in a defensive battle, but I would not mind fighting them in an offensive battle. So going here, whoops, and attacking this army, they may not stick around. They won't be able to reach us. And interestingly, I'm starting to see some Khandian units creep in to the roster here. These are nomadic watchman levies, which you can recruit in Khand. These are not very good. They are very cheap. They're good for garrison, you know. Decent for numbers, I guess. But they're basically like a footman unit with maybe a little bit better armor. I'm kind of curious now. So they get the same defense. These guys have worse attack, worse charge, but these ones do have better armor. So I would say, well, okay, we've also got some difference in experience here. So these guys might be slightly better if experience is taken into account. All right, we can't hit this army, unfortunately, but maybe, you know, maybe next season we'll be able to do that. We're almost close enough to hit Akasanaban with this army, so I want to get them ready to do that. Okay, he's Lord of Lower Herodwaith. Oh, okay, he's the Lord of this place. He's a competent commander, though. I don't know that I necessarily want him leading here. He does seem to make the people kind of happy, but if he's a competent commander, it would be better to have him fighting in the field. All right, so we'll go out here, and we're going to have a look now at what we can bring over. So we've got this archer unit. That'd be useful to have. You know, these guys would also be nice. Let's do some of that. I don't know if we'll be able to get away with it. Yeah. Oh, actually, that's 70. But it's a bit close for comfort. So we'll bring this one unit back, and we've got another unit of these footmen. However, in Umbar City, we can now train these footmen of Harad levies. So let's just go and do a bunch of those. And we'll be able to retrain some of these units too. Okay, so I think with that we're just about set to end the season. Okay. Nothing much new in Adunabar, and Harad has attempted to lay an ambush with this army. So I couldn't reach that army with this army, with these guys just yet. But what I could do is reach them with this. I'm wondering if that would be worthwhile. Well, I mean, honestly, no. What I need to do is just take Akasanabon, right? I could just storm the place right now. We do have a Mercenary Southron Spears unit available for mercenary duty, or garrison duty, essentially. We could take the settlement this turn with the catapults. And then, you know, take the army outside, potentially, and, you know, deal with that fallout. It might be good to do that, although I'm not sure if the public order is sustainable. That's the big question. So we're making, geez, a lot of money on diplomacy and tributes. Our allies are just doing a fantastic job for us. So maybe because they're staying put, it might be good to... Maybe I want to deal with these armies now rather than later. We're close enough that we can still fight this and then take the city. If we can take all these guys, that's the only question. I guess we're committed now. But what would be really annoying to have happen is for these guys to come onto the battlefield, withdraw, and then go back to the city where they beef up the garrison. That may well happen. So we're going to need to use our cavalry, I think, to try to prevent that. We're going to have to be careful. In the last battle, I was a little slow with my cav, so I don't want to let that happen again. Let's get all of our Dol Amroth guys on one wing, like I like, and then the other guys over on the other one. We've got our king, Valakar, left in the center to sort of support. Now, we are seeing a sort of a default deployment that has Kingdom Militia in the center. And I'm not a big fan of that, but on the other hand, I don't really have any better ideas. I guess I could use them to block for the catapults or something. In this battle, also, we're going to have to see if the AI is going to be a little more, I don't know, a little more willing to wait around. They may not.
The enemy have brought up reinforcements in a pathetic attempt to save themselves.
Alright, those are coming from way down there, though, so yeah, I just barely see them in the hills. They will emerge. There they are. Not a huge threat, this army, but we're going to have to take our time getting into position and bombarding this force. So that will leave them all kinds of opportunities to get here. And they don't have much for archers. But yeah, I think they're realizing that... Okay. Form up. Don't withdraw. Please don't withdraw. I want to take out all of you guys if possible. Alright, I think this is a good point for us to sit and bombard. And so let's, you know, let's go for the Serpent Black. If I could take out the General. What do they have? Some more Scarlet Shields. Okay, we did take out some of them already. That was pretty good for a first shot. And there he goes. All right, great. Now we're on Spearman duty, I think. Now, I don't know how much of this they're going to take. All right, there's some Spearmen. That was pretty good. I'm targeting the Spearmen. I think that's a good choice rather than the swords, because the swords we can beat in a charge more easily, but the Spearmen are going to be a bit tougher. Yeah. Should have seen that coming a long time before. So we'll send all the cavalry after everybody that I can hit. And they're close enough to the edge that we probably won't catch them. Well, you never really know exactly what they're going to do. And I don't know that it was worth sending my men in like a frontal assault either. Again, we've got a big battle we're going to be fighting. you know, if not this episode, fairly soon, with that big stack of Harad. So I think we'll throw these cavalry at the swords. And these guys, we should be able to do some damage. Those red sand archers aren't going to be able to do much to prevent it. And this is just a light cav Haradwaith Riders unit. So they're going to be leaving. Okay, 72, and they're turning around to fight. Losing heavily, shaken, wavering, broken. Very, very nice. Let's just pull on through and hit those archers, but they're going to make it off the field, very sadly. Well, they've got a swords unit. They've got no bodyguard. That family member is gone. We're taking out some archers here, which is also very nice. And we've taken out, you know, some of their infantry just by catapult. So yes, we will continue this. Run them down, and then that'll be the end of the fight. And again, we lost, you know, 11 men. Killed 337. So this army is probably going to withdraw right back into the city that we're going to maybe attack. We'll see what that does to the garrison, and that'll dictate what I decide to do. You're going back in, you're going back in. Yeah, what a bunch of jerks. They've got a nobleman in there. They've got these cavalry, which are good, and they're good in the city as well, potentially. We could take it, but it's more of a fight than I want right now. So we'll go over here. What we'll do like that. We'll do an ambush, and we'll try to get close enough to this army so that we can spring the attack maybe next turn. They might ambush us, and that would be, you know, I guess that could be okay. We've got enough cav, we've got some archers, and the catapults would help out a little bit. Alright, so here, yeah, we want to pick up those skirmishers, and we want to make sure that army can't reach us, but we could get over here a little bit. These guys can't quite reach us, but we want to be in a position where we can do some damage. I'm noticing that we've got a single settlement of North Rune here. Okay, they don't have just one settlement anymore. They've got Aaron Rune. Okay, but they you know, they may be forced to hoard pretty soon. They're under siege here. Okay, yep, Dale's attacking the dwarves. That does happen. I'm surprised they're going for Nerrig Zagil. You know, they've taken everything in the north, so I guess that makes sense. They've even taken Farngarthhold, which is really not worth bothering with. So Dale is putting all of its energy into the north. I mean, they've come down into Rovanian. I'm kind of hoping they go to war with Rohan, rather, because otherwise Rohan is going to quickly find itself with not a lot to do. They're going to clear out these forts for me, and then they're going to be wondering what else they can possibly entertain themselves with. But over here in Lon Nurnen, we can now go for Homeland Dominion, so 7 seasons there. It's going to be a little costly, but we have to do it. 6 seasons for this one. Oh, I should have taken care of that ship. Okay, we do have an ambush. Very interesting. This is that big army. Okay. You know what I almost wish is that, you know what happens when you fail an ambush? Like the ambush failed, the enemy will have time to draw up for the attack. In that scenario, you are the attacker, right? I believe. So that would actually have been better if that happened, if I did not successfully ambush them. I think that would be preferable. Alright, so we need to get deployed here. We ambushed them, we hid somehow this army in you know, over the hills, I guess, you know, in the scrub land of Harad. So the catapult here is not going to be the most useful thing. Their captain unit is Haradwaith Riders, So they've got one of these units of cav. They've got, you know, the assorted infantry that we are by now so familiar with. Lots of swords. They've got some archers too. But no other cavalry, unless they've got something hidden down here that's in the tall grass or trees that I can't quite see. That is possible. But the other thing is that it's going to be weird about this. Figuring out quite how to use our catapults, because usually the best move in an ambush is like a quick frontal assault from uphill. And catapults are not best used from uphill. Oh, that's King Swordsman, that's why. Because they tend to really overshoot, and in some cases they just won't ever get a proper trajectory and won't fire. So those are both bad things. We do have longbowmen here that can do a lot of damage. Yeah, we'll take this as a freebie, right? But we want to be careful that we are not sticking our necks out too far. We want to be somewhat conservative with our forces here. Okay. Do we want something like that? It feels a little vulnerable. Let's bring these kind of cavalry over here. These are Spearmen of the Serpent. We'll just have them ready. And I don't think I want anybody on the downhill side. We'll keep the cavalry up here, and I think archers are good. Let's move these guys. Oh. Actually, yeah, let's switch this up. Because these guys with javelins, I like them occupying the high ground because they're going to be fighting from there as well. Okay, and we'll go with that. See what they're going to do. Our catapult is going to fire at, I don't know. I guess we'll just see. This is all rather chaotic. Alright, our mariners are already throwing javelins. We're going to get some bonuses. Okay, okay. That's pretty decent. Let's hit these Swords of Harad. We'll get some bonuses just due to the fact that we are, you know, ambushing them. So that's going to count for something. So I'll bring these cav... Oh, no, we want to use these cav here. These Swords of Harad are annoying. And we did not manage to rout them on this side, unfortunately. Hopefully we can do some damage there. We've got our king in that melee. Over here we've got skirmishers, and I think we're going to just ignore them. We got to get some routes happening, though. Not happening fast enough. I would love to have routed the footmen as well. They're wavering, but that's not not happening quickly enough either. All right, some routing is happening. All right, footmen are routing. All right, let's turn around. We're going to lose a bunch of stuff here, but we got to stop that cav so we can catch them with our other units. And I'm a little worried we just did a bunch of damage to our own men. A little worried. We got a big rout happening. Let's stop the catapults. Stop, stop, stop. Alright, we caught them here. And look at all this damage to our lovely archers. That sucks so much. We're going to lose those Blackroot Vale Bowmen too. They are so vulnerable in melee. I mean, if we just take a look at the stats here. Defense of 20 versus the 14. I would think that these guys would do a lot better. But they took an absolute pounding, and I don't like it. All right, good news, we wiped out the army. Bad news, our archers are just not going to make it back. You know, some of these losses may recoup, but the fact is the vast majority of them were cavalry. They were not arrows. And you get your ranged losses back, but you tend not to get your melee losses back as quickly. Well, I would say that was a success. You know, apart from the cavalry, just... I didn't have my archers protected. I never protect my archers very well. I know this about myself, and I'm somewhat at peace with it. So that's just the way. If you're an archer in Count's army, you know, you got to know what you're signing up for. Our infantry's looking decent. Our cavalry's looking decent, although this 14 unit of Dol Amroth men-at-arms is a little troubling. But we've got enough to keep going, basically. And this was the big army in the area, so I guess I can't be too whiny about it all. A heroic victory. We lost, you know, a couple hundred men. And now we'll see if Harad decided to group up some of those smaller armies and you know, do anything different. It is a shame because I think we would have done a lot better if we were attacking. The ambush is kind of nice, but it's funny, ambushes for the Reunited Kingdom, I think, don't work as well as they do for some factions. Like, an ambush when you're playing as the Bjornings is absolutely amazing, because you don't have catapults to worry about, right? You don't have the small, heavy, slow units like men-at-arms or the King's Spearmen or your Mariners. You've got basically scary guys with axes. You've got scary dogs whose handlers have axes. You've got not scary guys with axes, but basically you charge up your axe guys and you send them at the enemy, and that's how ambushes tend to go with the Bjornings. So it's always a good time. Same thing with Dunland for the most part. You get bonuses in the woods, but as a Reunited Kingdom, you know, it gives you some advantage, but it's not, it doesn't seem like it plays to your strengths exactly. All right, now the problem here, I think we're going to have to pull back out. Not that we're going to have to, but it would be wise to do so. I want to let these guys get out of the city. I want to give them the impression that they are safe to some extent. I want to get some of these guys back over towards Umbar or Karis Nan so they can be shipped up to get retrained. I think we'll do that. We'll make like Karis Nan and Habad the places where we put our guys. We get 2 ships here. And then we'll send them up north, you know, to get retrained. We've got to deal with this annoyance. And so now our trade is looking better. Income should be looking a little bit better.
Fleet ready. Prepare to engage. Victory! Aye, Captain. Fleet ready. Set sail. Prepare to engage.
Alright, they actually left. And I can't get them this turn. That's alright. We can take out these guys at least. Maybe.
Ready to sail.
Yes.
Prepare to engage.
And that's everybody in the region. We will get Anumbar at some point. We've got a bunch more Blackwood Vale Bowmen, but, you know, I think what we've got to do if we want to use them is not pussyfoot around, because we've got 140 upkeep for them. And what is it again for these guys? Yeah, 80. It's a little better, but they have more men. I've got to start swapping out the Bowmen of Gondor for the Blackwood Vale Bowmen is what I got to do. So we'll get like a big army of archers and whatever mercenaries I want. And we'll just train like, that's 6 here, that'll be like 8 total. And then that'll just kind of melt stuff, I would imagine. I'm using too few of them as part of the problem. And I'm not protecting them, so, you know, you use very light archers, and that's what you expect if they're going to get caught by Cav. So the Bjornings have taken this, and I don't think the Bjornings have any other border with the Dunabar. It's unfortunate, because it would be great if they kind of came on through here and attacked them. You know, what I could do is consider giving them some territory so they could continue the war, and maybe that is something I will do a little bit later. But for now, I think this is a pretty decent point for us to end the episode. On a high note, I do see that Rune is pressing on around the south of the Sea of Nirn. And what that may mean is that they will eventually take out a Dunabar from this end. When that happens, we will be in a good position to take these territories for ourselves. And that will be nice, because these are some fertile ground. We can get some decent troops out of here. This is going to be pretty easy for us to rule. And so, and Adunabar has probably built up a decent amount of stuff here as well, so that we can effectively, you know, do our slash and burn thing and get some good return on it. Otherwise, we're holding pretty steady in the north. We're doing pretty well here against Harad in the south. And we're going to continue with this goal, which is go eventually to take Akkas Anabon, get some troops together, so that it's reasonable to attack an army that that will come out of here, or two, take the city, hold it, and then move on into the east. Because again, I don't think I necessarily want to take this immediately, right? Because we've got public order issues. We're working on our Dominion buildings in a couple of different places. And once those are built, it'll be just easier to conquer more stuff. So we've got, 5 or so more turns before public order starts to turn around in our territories because of these fiefdom dominions that are going to be built. It'll just be easier to hold stuff at that point. Take Akos-Annobon within the next 5 turns, let's say. And then we will push on to to Carenbad, and to Adabara, and gift those to our protectorate and or other allies. But yeah, in the meantime, I mean, we're up to 40 provinces. 5 more, really 7, and then we will have our victory. So need to start thinking about exactly what that map is going to look like. It's probably going to be territories around Nirn. It's possibly going to be some territory in the north. A lot of it is going to depend on what Tharbad does, what the Bjornings do, what Rohan decides to do. But we will cross that bridge when we come to it, folks. In the meantime, thank you very much for joining me in this episode. I hope you'll stick around for the next one, and until then, take care.